when I see that the violation is too big, which means the structure was built on foundations that cannot be permitted. The framing was done in a way that the ceiling is too low. The roof don't have the required slope. The rooms are smaller than they can be by code, and the list go on and on. I tell the owner it's gonna be much cheaper for you to demo it and build something new from scratch by code. We are here to simply help our clients solve the situation in the most efficient and economical way. If legalizing gonna cost more than to build ground up, we're gonna highly recommend them to demo and build it again.
Right.
We're here to help.
Which is always the best option. Like I've seen it with another business that I have. I saw like if the mirror wasn't 2 inches, it was 2 inches off, you just can't open the place. So I know how hectic that is, but many people, they don't know. They just don't realize how many specifications are there for you to be able to get the permit. So that's why there's people like you, and that's why they should contact people like you.
We're also dealing with projects that are a little bit more complex. For example, we had a gas station on Sunset that got crazy violations of illegal electric and plumbing and illegal car wash. We had clients that owned buildings that been converted in a way that there is not enough parking. You need a parking ratio based on amount of units. We simply told the owner we just need to bring it back to its original use. We are here basically to help. If we see that the best way to help is to bring it back to its original use, that's what we're gonna recommend to our clients.
Yeah. Yes, if you don't know all the regulations, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. And there will be people like they wanna save, I don't know, money on materials like the wood, and that's why the ceiling would be a little bit lower, just to don't spend on the larger, you know. So yeah, it's crazy how people just wanna save money and they don't realize it's gonna be worse.
It's very easy to build or to permit something the wrong way. It's very easy, sadly.
Sadly.
And the sad thing about it all is that most of the times inspectors come to single homes. I'm not talking about duplexes and above, single homes for inspection when a neighbor called or a tenant called. They did something wrong, but beside to all of the fees that they need to pay, now they need to refund the tenant for all of the rent that they paid till the day of the violation. So if a tenant lived there for 15 years, guess what? You need to give them a full refund for all of the 15 years that they paid you rent.
Yes.
Wow. Let me ask you something, because I know an example, a real life example that a friend of mine just lived. And we were wondering about some things, and it just came out because of what you just said. So this friend of mine, he's renting a ADU, it's a garage conversion with a 1-bedroom. They attach one more bedroom to the garage, so it's a 2-bedroom garage conversion. And when it was raining, his whole house went flooded. All the house went flooded. And they had to replace like all the flooring. His computer got damaged, his TV got damaged, everything, electrical got damaged. They started charging them $500 instead of $2,800 for the time being of the repairs. But they kept them inside of the property. So I was like, I don't think that's right. I think they should accommodate you somewhere and for the time being of the repairs. And I mean, I don't know the laws or whatever, but what is the real situation? What does the tenant has to do to this?
I tell you what the tenant need to do, but more importantly, what the landlord need to do. The landlord need to call us if you have a unit that was built illegally. So we're gonna be able to legalize it before anything will happen. Because the tenant now have a lot of things that he can do. And if the building or the structure was built without a permit, it's gonna be some serious consequences to the landlord. So anyone that hearing that podcast that have a conversion that was built illegally, a room addition that was built illegally, 2 units, 4 units, 8 units, a gas station, a restaurant that things been subdivided inside the structure. Call us now. Call us as fast as possible, because it's just a matter of time until you're gonna have a tenant that's gonna know the law just a little bit more than the average person, and then you're gonna need to pay way more than what this unit can provide of years to come, you know?
What is it that the tenant can get from this situation, if they were in a situation like this, and so that the landlord is aware of the things that they can really face due to this problem?
Well, let me jump in, if I may.
Please.
Realistically, what the landlord should have done was to first of all relocate the tenant. You can't have a tenant living in a substandard situation like that. Everything is water damaged. You leave that the building materials wet long enough, it's going to grow mold. And the way you're describing it rained and everything flooded. It sounds like it was done poorly, right? The roof wasn't done correctly. The windows weren't installed correctly. The waterproofing wasn't done correctly, whether if it's stucco or wood sidings. And that could mean several things. Maybe the work was done with an unlicensed contractor. Maybe the work was done with no permits or inspections. So the tenant is entitled to get relocated to a safe environment along with all of their belongings. Also, if electronic materials or equipment like computers, television sets, appliances, whatever the tenant owns that get damaged, should be replaced.
Was the unit built legally or not?
I have no idea.
So if the unit was built,
But I don't think so,
If
because they didn't check for that situation.
so if it was built without a permit, it's an illegal conversion or illegal attached or detached ADU or illegal junior ADU, which is part of the main house. Whatever structure it is, if it was built without a permit, it's a complete different story.
You know, I want to add one thing.
Because he doesn't want to get in that trouble.
Yeah.
I want to add one very important thing. I'm sure you'll agree with me, Danny. I don't like to sound like I'm scaring anyone, but take this as a warning to any potential landlord out there. There are tenants, potential tenants, that are very familiar with the law, familiar with the fact that if they move into an unpermitted unit, whether if it's in a building or back of a house, doesn't matter, there are no official permits on file. They'll move in, they'll stop paying rent, and it'll be very hard to vacate them. Or they'll pay rent for a year or two and then demand all of their rent money back.
Right.
And there are tenants, literally career tenants, that do that. They look online, on Craigslist, on Zillow, apartments.com, wherever you're advertising your rental units. And they'll look at the address. They'll even come to see the unit. And then they'll go to the city,
That's so bad.
check the address, and if they don't find a permit, they'll sign the lease and move in because they know the repercussions. They know
Right.
what they can get back at the end of the day.
Right.
Very, very scary.
Now, right now that you're saying that, are there tenants, I guess there are, that are willing to do, everything is perfect, but they will do a malfunction so that these things happen, so that they can get either rent-free or whatever?
You know, there are tenants who would do anything to get away with the rent payments
And-
or utilities or whatever.
And
it
how
is.
the landlord can protect himself from that?
Well, as a first step, make sure the unit is 100% permitted. That's your first line of defense.
Right.
Second, make sure it is 100% well maintained. Whether if you're doing the maintenance yourself, you hire someone like us, you make sure the unit is up to par. You take a video, you take pictures at the move-in day. So if a month later or 6 months or whatever the case might be, suddenly I don't know, the kitchen cabinets fall off the wall, or there's a plumbing flood because a pipe burst, but the unit is 2 years old and it doesn't make sense for it to burst. Anything like that, you have proof that this was in perfect condition when the tenant
Before
moved in.
he arrived.
Exactly.
Anything can happen at any given moment due to weather, economy, pandemic, you call it. But at the end of the day, we need to do everything that we can to do everything right. Everything needs to be per code. That's the most important thing, as Danny said. When you're starting by renting a unit that was built per code, you have a certificate of occupancy, and you rent it legally, not much that can happen to you. Worst case scenario, you have inspection, you have minor violations, you fix them. But if the unit was built without a permit, then we're talking about big problems. And as Danny said, we are not here to scare nobody, we are here to help. So if you have a unit that was built without a permit, give us a call today. It's gonna be much cheaper to handle it in this stage compared to a stage that you already have an inspection and you already have a violation. So if you have a unit, a conversion, an addition, detached ADU, multi-units that you added units without a permit, give us a call today. We can legalize it for you, in most cases.
Guys, thank you so much for explaining about the violation situation in the ADUs. Is there anything you'd like to add?
You know, where you asked me earlier today, what is the 4 Ps? And I promise I'm gonna explain it. The 4 Ps stands for people, price, product, and process. A lot of people can be having 1 out of the 4, 4 out of the 4, but I think that the most important thing is the people. And in our company, we hire only specific individuals that specialize in a specific trade. The architects doing only architectural, the engineer doing only engineering, the permit expediter dealing with the permits only, back and forth with the city. So when you're hiring us, you have a 1 point of contact. You don't need to deal with 5 different individuals. You deal with the project manager only. You're gonna get daily reports as far as what's happening, what's about to happen, when we think we're gonna be able to complete it. But you have 1 person, and that's make all the difference in the world. A lot of people underestimate the time that it takes to legalize a unit. There is back and forth to the city, like, I believe like 7 to 10 times
On average.
on average on each project we're legalizing.
Yeah.
Not only that, you need to meet with the architects, with the engineer, with the surveyor. So we're handling all of that for them. So if you have a violation, or if you have a unit that was been built without a permit, don't hesitate. Give us a call. We're gonna handle everything from the beginning till the end with all of the individuals that involved.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo.